Goblins and elves, in reality, are not funny and cute. They are not something good. In fact, it is something very horrifying. In which no one would ever want to see them. No one would ever want to experience, to be unfortunate enough to see a creature like this. No one. Hello everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. And I wanted to do a video that was by request. As far as drawing of what these creatures look like. And the creatures of elves and goblins that I've seen when I was a kid. And throughout my every now and then, once every couple of years or so, throughout my teenage years, throughout my 20s and 30s, my horrifying experiences with these creatures. And like I said before, what I experienced was real. It was horrific. And it's not something that I would wish on anybody to experience. You do not want to experience it. Let me just put it that way. As far as drawing it, I used to have a talent for drawing. And it's very, very difficult for me to even draw how these creatures look like. So I looked it up on the internet, and of course most of these pictures that I found were mostly from like Dungeons and Dragons type of image of what a goblin and elf looks like, and of course from the Lord of the Rings kind of thing. So it felt like I was wasting my time going through whatever. But I did find a couple of real folklore type goblins and elves that looks, I would say, about a good 80% close to what I experienced, of what I've seen, that I witnessed, as far as a person who actually confronted these things, who was unfortunate enough to meet these creatures. And this is how they look like as far as 80% close. And of course, they look scarier than this. So bear with me. This is just what I found on the internet. And as far as drawing it myself, I don't know if I could actually do that. Like I said, I used to have a talent for drawing, and I know it doesn't go away. It's been like, oh my God, I don't know, 30, 35 years since I actually drew pictures. But I used to be real good at it when I was a kid. up until like from 6 years old to 12 to maybe 14 years of age or whatever. And then little by little I stopped. But this is how they look like as far as how close they are. But of course it looks scarier looking than this. This is to give you a basic idea of how they look like. There's some that look like this as far as their clothes, but not so much their facial features. Their facial features are pretty much close to this, with the type of floppy hats that they have. And this one on this side looks somewhat close to it as far as face and ears, the whole entire head. Again, they don't look exactly like this, but somewhat close. They're a lot scarier looking than this. Even though this face is blurry, I would say that this face is pretty much close, 80% close of how they look like. The only thing difference is they had fangs on the bottom part of the mouth, pointed up, and their face is kind of round and chubby compared to this. And that's how they look like as far as, how close they are to it. But the thing about it is, they also have like fangs on the bottom, like triangle type fangs going up, and his face was chubby. They're kind of like chubby. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was something like that. And they're very, very fast. They're extremely strong. That's why they're very fast. And like I said before, I mentioned this before, they are biological creatures. They're biological. They're flesh and blood. They're not spirits or anything like that. They use some kind of implement or something they wear on their body that helps them to, some kind of technology that they use to move through dimensions. They're physical beings who have the technology to move from this material world dimension, third dimension, into fourth. And they're hiding in the fourth dimension, and they have a great deal of knowledge of it because they have a lifespan up to 500 years. And they go as far as to even kill children, feed off their blood, their flesh, whatever, and because of their DNA, it helps them to replenish or to expand their lifespan, to increase their lifespan, to live longer lives. And also they also use it to prey on other people, and that's why they hear the sounds of little kids laughing, because they take their essence and they imitate the sounds of these kids. That's why people who suffer from sleep paralysis hear the sounds of little kids laughing, and they get horrified. They see it. The example that you saw on that video was just another type of elf, which is very real. The one you saw from that video footage from Mexico, it was a real footage, by the way. It was real. And also, not only did they collect the essence of their victims, but the fear they also collected. They bottle it in order to use it when they get close enough to a victim, and then that victim actually feels the fear of the past victims that thing actually terrified or killed. And that's why people get scared, and then they run off screaming like crazy, because they're feeling all that negative energy from their past victims all at once, hundreds of them, or whatever they actually terrorized, or whatever the case may be. And that's why that's why you get scared and run off. The thing about it is, when you do confront them, and this is something from my own experience. I can only speak for myself. Maybe some of you have experienced this. I don't know. But whenever they do come to you and attack you, and then they usually do it when you're asleep, and then your spirit or your soul leaves halfway out of your body, and which is known as, some people call it REM sleep or whatever, but it's sleep paralysis. And when they attack you, they usually attack your astral body, not your physical flesh and blood, but your astral. And you could actually feel them when they grab you, when they grab you from the throat, or put their hands over your face, or grab you from your ankles, what they usually fucking do. They grab you from your ankles and they pull you off the bed or whatever. Or they climb on top of you and they sit on your chest. The point is, you could actually fight them in that realm. And I have actually fought a couple of them when I was in my 30s. I actually got fed up with, even though I was fucking scared, I got so fucking fed up with them that I actually managed to grab them and actually fight them. Even though they were strong, you have to remember, even though they're a lot stronger than you, if you have control over your fear, you'll realize that when you're in the fourth dimension, in the astral realm, when you're fighting them in the astral realm, there is no limit to your imagination. No limit whatsoever. You could actually think of yourself as being stronger than them, and you could actually beat the living fuck out of them, rip them apart, and show dominance. And, pretty much putting your foot down, saying, I'm not going to take shit from you anymore. And actually, but you have to control your fear. It's a bitch and a half to do, especially when you're not used to seeing them like I did. Not that it was a good thing, seeing them a lot, but it's extremely difficult to do, but it's not impossible. For those of you who have been victimized by it, you'll know that it is possible to fight these things in the astral realm, in the fourth dimension. And if you really show some serious fucking spine, if you really seriously show some real courage and put your foot down as a way of saying, fuck you, you're not gonna terrorize me anymore, I don't give a fuck. And you actually show a lot of conviction and attitude, believe me, and then use your imagination. Just think of whatever it is. Think of yourself getting larger and bigger and stronger or whatever, or grabbing something that was never really there before in your room, whether it's a sword or whatever, even though you never really had one. And like I said, there is no limit to your imagination. You could even, you have to experience it to know what I mean. For those of you who ever had astral projection, where you actually meditated and you actually went into the astral realm, you noticed that you could actually move objects by thought. You could actually make your room expand and make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want to do it, however you want to look at it. And then when it gets to the point of, there's no limit. Let me just put it that way. There is no limit to your imagination, because the laws of physics don't apply at all. There's no rules, basically. So hopefully, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And to all of you, take care.